folks? Welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Today, we're going to be talking about Datamines, the changes that went into the game on the October 31st patch. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not quite so sure if there's anything of like really big note, but maybe a little piece of tidbit of something. Little piece of tidbit of something is actually the right way to describe it, believe me, when I talk about it. I'm pretty new to this whole data mine thing, so there's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me as I kind of figure out what's going on here, but I'm going to try and cover a little bit of it. To be clear, I am not the one doing the actual data mining. Those are people in the unofficial Discord, Sig and Rimble. Shout out to them. They're the ones who provide that to the wider community, so you can actually just go check that out yourself in the unofficial Discord if you want to go see what all this stuff is about. But let's get into it. It's mostly looking at lines of code, or code's maybe a strong word. Some changes that they added. There are a few little interesting tidbits in here. So they added what I'm going to call essentially, I'm not sure whether it's a test, like a placeholder, or whether it's going to be some sort of new player experience. But basically they have this like temp legendary tier type stuff that they've added in. So like play as a Dunedain attacker, try out Gimli and explore the Fellowship. The dwarves rule Erebor once more, but corrupted forces have come to challenge their claim. And basically, they've got all these tiers of stuff. The last one, lead your forces of shadow in battle upon Pelennor fields. Like, there is some cool... The Nazgul have been spotted at Amonsal, and they're approaching Rivendell. So there's some cool stuff in here, but what I'm not entirely sure about is whether this is going to be some sort of new player experience where, like, you get in, you hit some level, and then they basically go, oh, this is what a legendary event is like, to just kind of get you hype and want you to work towards the legendary events. I mean, we only have one in the game right now. We expect another one soon. Or if it's just a placeholder and they're like, oh, we just copy and paste the code that we already have in there and then we can just fill out the details later. Not quite sure. I guess we'll wait and see. But that is in the game now. That's basically how it works. The patch happens when the game data goes live. They can do the data mine. They've also got some weapon stuff that they added in here. So just talking about availability of weapons and equipping stuff. And they've got all this stuff about, you know, different set bonuses. One-handed hunting axe that gives a particular set bonus. Two-handed Gondorian sword. That sort of stuff. I sort of summarized them here. So the one-handed hunting axe, the wielder gains 75% crit chance while taunting or in stealth. One-handed Rohan sword deals plus 10% extra damage for each boon and bane on the wielder. Two-handed Gondorian sword, which seems insanely overpowered to me. Get an extra turn after defeating a foe. And the Lorien bow. When this archer damages an orc or goblin, weaken them for 1 turn. Here, those are all interesting. Here's the rub. They had this stuff in the game 5 months ago. This is a screenshot from a ton of video discussing these exact same things. It looks like they were added back into the game. I don't know if that means that they're also sort of a work in progress type situation, or they're just putting in some framework stuff. But I do think it's interesting in the sense that we've gotten a little bit of information on Glyphs from both the Reddit AMA and from the Tana interview. And we do know that there are going to be interesting set bonuses. I have them listed here. These are the set bonuses that we're pretty sure are going to be introduced into the game, right? The Lemba set. At the end of a turn, character's turn, X% chance to regenerate 1 stamina and 1 random ability. Overeager, gain X% of turn meter at the start of each encounter, but reduce speed by X%. And Last Stand. Start each encounter with a stack of Unbreakable. When lost, gain might and advantage for 1 turn. And then we can go back to these sets, which are also somewhat interesting, but maybe a little bit more basic. And then you look at the last one, Lorien bow, and you ask yourself, well, that seems awfully narrowly focused, right? And it's interesting because these are directly dealing with the weapons. And the weapons were originally what we thought Glyphs were in the data mines for a long time. And it seems like Glyphs are something you inscribe on your weapons, right? That's how it's going to work. So I'm really curious. I want to know more information about the next progression system we're getting that's supposed to be by the end of the year. How is it going to work with the weapons and the Glyphs? Are we going to be limited in what sort of set bonuses we can choose for each of our characters based on what their primary weapon is? Or maybe not a limitation, but you get, like, you aren't strictly limited, but you get more bonuses if you use the correct weapon sort of set on a particular character that has that weapon set. Or maybe they just completely scrap that entirely. I'm not really sure. The data mines are very, very speculative. I want to make that completely clear. But I do think it serves a purpose in maybe giving us a look ahead as to what they're thinking a little bit. And also just kind of, speculation can be hype in a positive way, as long as you don't read too much into it, I suppose. We have yet to really establish how accurate the data mines are. We know that, like, Witch King is probably not our next legendary. That was a big one people were banking on. But there are other things that definitely panned out from the data mines. CG's probably gotten wise to what they add in here. I am curious about specifically how the glyph system is going to work with weapons and what that combination looks like. But I just wanted to bring this to your attention and kind of get my feet a little bit wet with the data mines. Again, shout out to Sig and Rimble on the unofficial Discord server for making this widely available to the broader gaming community. But that's all for me today. Very short video. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.